to Being Whole, Being Me. This is Malar from Hearts and Minds Development Center. And so, for those who are joining us again, as always, welcome. Today we have a very nice, wonderful friend of mine, Bernadette, or we know her as Berny. She's agreed, and yes, I am as excited to bring her over very quickly so that we all can chat. So as we bring Berny, let me just quickly welcome, my goodness, Dr. Wendy Liu. Berny, I'm assuming you know Dr. Wendy Liu.
I'm not sure.
It's okay. It's okay. So she said, hello, my dear Malar and Berny. So I assume that she knows you, because what I realize is that you're so famous that when I put out the brochure that you're coming on our show, there were a lot of people saying hello. So I'm just going to say hello and invite everybody before I pass on the mic to you, Berny. All right. Hi, Wendy. Lovely to see you. I'm so glad you made it. Eleanor, if you remember, Eleanor Lisa George.
Yes.
He's saying hello, Malar, and my lovely friend Gerald Fernandez is here. Yes, he's looking forward to another superb session. As always, he says, which means that you have to inspire him. All right. So as people come in and say hello, I want to really thank you for saying yes. And you came in at the right time. And, as I say that, another fan of yours has signed in, Louis.
Oh.
So Louis actually texted me this morning. He said, today is Berny, right? So he can't afford to kind of miss it. So Louis, welcome. And yes, and for the people who are here, welcome. So Berny, how are you?
Fantastic. I mean, feeling really good and excited. Yes.
So tell me, what are you excited about? Because you're always excited.
That's true. I think that I'm going to be able to share with everyone my journey. I mean, it's been everybody, from my close friends, actually, most of them have always told me, your story is so amazing. And I've always thought, really, is it really that amazing? I mean, to me, it seemed like, life and, going on with what needed to be done. But when they tell me that, I think to myself, and, my husband also always tells me, you must share, you must tell people about what you went through and how your journey was and your struggles and your achievements. And I thought, yeah, okay, so as and when I can, I do that when I have, friends over or something, but never something that's spontaneous like this. So I'm really looking forward, and I hope it makes a difference and helps anyone, that's listening to this podcast or this session.
Nice, because I think that's what actually got me excited when we finally caught up. It was so amazing because, we were just chatting and you suddenly said, we've never had that conversation as to your career journey, right? And that was interesting because I feel like, and I feel this about a lot of people, I feel like I've known you my whole life, right? Which brings me to the first time I met you, which was so official. We were introduced by Terry Neto. Again,
yes.
Right, because I was trying to walk back the memory lane, and then of course, we did some work together. Mm-hmm. And as I dashed in, you sort of dashed out. So we never really had a working relationship.
Yeah.
But all I know is that when I was working, I was running sessions in your previous organization, people were just goo gaga over you. Everything is about Berny this, Berny that, because I was working with HR, right? Yeah. And you, despite you leaving the organization, you gave me great support after that when I was struggling. And that struck me a lot. Yeah, it struck me because I felt like, I'm not hacking this and, I'm having this trouble and, I've called you. And you would speak to me, you would give me this very neutral, wise advice as to, okay, Malar, this is how you do it really well. And I know a lot of people from the past also do that with you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know people are always in touch with you as to okay, let's check on Berny. So tell me, Berny, tell us a little bit about, we are here to hear two parts of your story, your amazing a way that you've crafted out your career where you are and where you are loved, right? I mean, I really think what strikes me about you is you are the HR person the way HR is supposed to be loved,
Thank you.
right? Really keeping the humanity at the center of your work. So we want to look at how you craft your career as well as your exciting and interesting journey about being a breadwinner. And I just absolutely love the way you and your husband talk about it as if you're like so cool about it. And that struck me, which is why I wanted to do both. So very quickly, let's talk about your career journey. So tell us when you first started your first job and
Okay.
your transitions. Yeah.
Right. Started in 1984. So some of you are going to be able to guess how young I am. And it was a data entry operator in Harper's Trading. So that was my first job after school. Did a certification, but that's it. Just went straight into working. Was in Harper's Trading for about 8 years. Then I was asked if I was keen on moving into Unilever. In this role, this was, I feel like I'm doing an interview with a job for a job, Malan. So in this job, actually, it was planning for raw materials for production of, like plantain margarine and stuff like that, So it was totally new job. But for me, I thought, okay, let's go try this, and went into it. At that time, that the amazing thing was when I went and I joined Unilever in 1992. I found out I was pregnant with my second boy, with my second child, who was a boy. And I was like, oh God. And this is 1 month after working and just diverting a bit. And I told the boss and I said, you know what, I'm pregnant. And he's like, well, we can't do anything about that, can we? And I was like, no, I'm afraid not. And he's like, okay, let's go with it. But he was a very good manager. At that time, I didn't know anything about Excel. He sat and he taught me how to use that, Excel and work on it. And it was amazing. The journey was amazing. I moved into becoming a purchasing executive because, for me, it was always about learning and wanting to know more. I get bored very easily. So, I like challenges that come, so I will go searching for it. If it doesn't come to me, I'm going to go find it. So, wasn't that, I was doing that for a while. Then Astro, okay, Astro was, being launched. And my colleagues were saying, Bernie, you need to apply. And I was like, I don't have any knowledge about broadcasting. I don't know. I love watching TV. Trust me, I love it. But I won't be able to do it. They said, no, they're taking everyone and anyone. Go give it a try. So I was like, okay. And I saw this job. It was resource planning. And I thought, okay, they said it's more related to programs, scheduling programs. And I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. Went for the interview and found out that it wasn't about programs, it was about studio operations. That means I was going to be working with the crew on planning their productions, inside and outside of the studios. And I was like, okay, this is going to be something that I am definitely not going to be able to do. And I told her, look, I have no knowledge. And she's like, no, it's okay. I have the time. I think you are mature enough and I'd like to teach you. And I was like, okay, fantastic. And so that my journey started in Astro in 1997. You know what is the amazing thing, Malan? I went for the interview in February 1997. And they offered me the job in May 1997. So because I guess they had so many things happen. And I'm pregnant again. This is my third. Yeah, trust me, I'm like, wow. I was hoping the new jobs that I get, I cannot afford to get pregnant after that. But yeah, that's my third boy and third child. He's a boy as well. And so was pregnant and joined the company. I told her, and I told my boss, I'm sorry, I'm pregnant. And she's like, it's fine, because I was due in November. And she's like, it's okay, these things happen. It's all right. It's not going to affect the way I do my job. I'll be fine. And so got into it, and it was exciting. And then the most interesting thing happened. Unfortunately, my husband was not able to continue working. So this was actually just before I found out I was pregnant. It was early 1997. So he's been having these back problems, and he had 4 different operations before that, and it came to a point where he really couldn't do his job. So he had to quit. He had to stop working for a while. And I'm pregnant. And I'm like, oh, wow, amazing. Pregnant, new job, husband, no job. Okay. And then, so let me just, before I continue with my journey, let me just give you a little bit of background of what happened. So it was very challenging. I think for me, it didn't really hit me that, oh, my husband's not working. But what really affected me was the external factors.
Mm,
People,
mm,
oh,
mm,
Bernie, your husband's not working, and you're expecting your third child.
mm,
My family concerns. Are
mm.
you going to be able to support the family? Are you okay? How are you going to cope with this? I was like, all these things were playing in my mind, and I used to go back home and I used to tell my husband, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? How are we going to survive? What am I earning? Is it enough for both of us? I want to buy a house. I want to be, able to do things. And he's like, what do you want me to do? I don't know what to do. And I don't know how to help you. And I'm like, okay. So, then it kept becoming more tensed, and we were fighting practically every day. When I come back from work, it was always, boggling in my mind and thinking, and I thought, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is it. I can't. I'm just going to quit. I think I need to think about me and my 3 kids. Ramesh, my husband, is going to have to take the back seat. I can't afford to think about him now. And all this, it was more external, to be honest. It was more external, all this, and the
Yeah.
embarrassment of going out, and people ask you, so what do you do? What your husband does? Silence. I'm like, what do I say? He's not working. The thought of him not being able to work didn't really hit me at that point. And so our relationship became very estranged. We were married, we were doing things together, but there was no relationship. It was just like, for convenience sake, for the kids' sake. So I was like, yeah, if this is going to be it, I spoke to my younger sister. She was in Canada. I said, is there a way I can move to Canada with the 3 kids? And she's like, yeah, of course you can. It's like, okay, let's work on that. Let me have this baby first, and then I'll make the plans.
Wow.
And then, so this is divine intervention, Mother. God, my husband is very strong in his faith. Yeah, for those of you who know me, my husband's pillar is his faith, and that has made me very strong. For him, nothing can shake him when it comes to
Right.
God. That's number one, and he's taught his children. I think if they're listening, they will know. Number one is God. Number two is everyone, and number
Mm.
three is then your family. So, they used to think, yeah, how come? Family should be important. No, he said, no, you should, everybody. Jesus said you have to love everyone. So that's what you need to do. So, anyway, going back to my story. So, what I did was, my youngest son, decided to give us a surprise. So, he was due in November, but he decided to threaten to come out in September. So on the 31st of August, while I was watching the live feed of Princess Diana's death, very excited, I was in my mother's house. This is as clear as, wow, I can tell you, I can picture it there. And I'm watching this, and I quickly got my kids all, ready. And, the 2 of them were, got them bathed and eat and everything. I want to watch the live stream of what's going on. Princess Diana's dead. Oh my God. And I'm sitting and watching there. Then I feel this gush, and I go to the toilet, and I was bleeding. And I was like, oh shit. I called my mother, and I was in my mom's place. I called my sisters, and they're all like, I have the best and fantastic support system. My family is amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. So one sister is calling the hospital. The other one is putting me down on the bed and, getting me to lie down, to relax. And the other one was calling my husband, where are you? Bernie is not well. Come back home. And my mother was, calming me down, and she's like, don't worry, everything's be okay. And he rushes home. He was in Slango Club at that time, and he took, and my mom's place in Bangsar, yeah. So it took about 10 minutes and he reached home. And this is the man that I am not friending la at that time. Not, it's like, okay la, So he came and he said, so what's wrong? And I said, I don't know. I said, I'm, spotting. And he's like, do we need to go to the hospital? I said, no. I said, the hospital has told us to hold on. And the next day, in the morning, we got up and he said, I think we need to go to the hospital. Let's just go.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, let's go. So I went, and then I think it is a blessing that we went because I was having contractions and baby was threatening to come out, early. And the gynae said, we can't because it's only 7 months. I don't feel very comfortable about it. So she said, let's keep him in there. Let's keep the baby in as long as we can. So I was in the hospital for a week. And this gynecologist is also such a darling gynecologist. She's passed on. I mean, God bless her soul. She went to my husband and she said, so what's wrong? Why is she stressed? And my husband is like, I don't know. What did you do? And she's always, on my side kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know. She said, okay, look, this is how it's going to be now. Bernie cannot move. She's going to be on bed. You are going to have to do everything for her. You're going to bathe her. You're going to feed her. You're going to clean her. And I'm like, oh, damn, this is the man I'm not friending, right? And I'm like, okay, and I am a very good patient. The doctor says A, I will do A. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to go against her. And my husband is, he's always been the sort of person he's never felt any shame in helping anyone. Yeah, it can be a stranger in the hospital. He will bathe that man. He's done it before. So,
Wow.
so we went home and he bathed me and he fed me and he cleaned me and Ayo, me la Malar, my heart became soft lah.
You fell in love again, like you fell for it.
I fell for it.
And the rest is history, like we say.
The rest is history. Anyway, so then it was like, all about this is a man who's so good. He's, so loving and so caring. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing, Forget about it. I think we need to focus on the marriage and the family. And of course, my son didn't give us much time. In that 3 weeks, he decided to come out. So he was a premature baby at 7 months and 3 weeks. But he was the weight of a healthy baby, 6 pounds, 4 ounces.
Nice.
Tall as a father. Yeah, very tall, long baby. Anyway, enough about my son. But so then, went back to work in Astro. So this is when I decided that my journey with my husband was, this is the life I'm going to live. Okay.
You decided after he looked after you, like
after the love sort of rekindle. Okay. Because
lucky the rekindle didn't go into the fourth baby, huh?
Oh, praise Jesus for that. But anyway, so what happened was I said, okay,
You're still getting excited about the fourth baby, Berny. I can see that. Ramesh, you are listening?
No, he's not. Anyway, so I told myself, okay, look, this is who he is. This is the circumstances I'm in.
Right.
If things are going to change, God willing, it will. If it's not, I'm not going to make my life miserable. I'm going to make sure that my children and I and my husband are going to live a happy family life. Whatever comes, God is there for us. And we know, that I felt very strong about it, that whatever came, I'm going to go forth and fight it and do it for my family. So that's the first breaking point.
Nice.
Then my journey in Astro. So
hold on.
Yes, tell me.
Because your story is too exciting. I can't keep track of your story because you didn't tell me all the romantic parts about you and Ramesh. Okay, like you missed on that when we were chatting. Now you've got to a part where I'm excited about. But hanging there, a couple of people are coming in to say hello from Facebook. We're not able to put up the comments, so I'm just going to read it to you later. But I want to just go back a little bit on a couple of things because I think you've brought out a lot of important things for us to discuss, right, Berny? Right. Number one is that it was very interesting, and I know a lot of women go through this. I'm sorry, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, As a mother, and as a woman who's trying to contribute to the household income,
Mm.
when what are you thinking when you go to your employer and you say, "I'm sorry that I'm pregnant"?
Actually, for me, it wasn't sorry that I'm pregnant, as in I feel bad that I'm pregnant. I love kids and I was happy. But I think the circumstances, firstly, it was a new job, Malar. And I felt that, I'm going to be going into this job and I'm pregnant. How is the manager going to take? I was blessed. My managers were very, how would I say, understanding to an extent. They realized that this wasn't, to a certain extent I don't know how to put this. It's not that we don't have control, but things happen. Things happen, and it's not like we planned it. This wasn't a planned thing, so it's that's why I say I'm sorry. Because I'm going into a job, and you've hired me to do a job, and within the next 9 months, I'm going to go on maternity, and
So
I'm
what? So what, Bernie? So what?
you're right. But at that time, like young and naive. Now, if you tell me, I'll say I'm pregnant. You want me or not?
Ramesh, she's trying to tell you something. I'm sorry. like, oh, okay. So let's go back. If you, with the wisdom that you have now, and you're
Yes.
joining a job and you're pregnant, how would you announce it to your boss? For all the young women who are probably going through what you're going through, right? How would you announce your pregnancy?
Well, to go before that, I wanted to say that, when I was pregnant and I went for the job, I was panicking. I was panicking. And I told my husband, I said, maybe I shouldn't say anything, just keep quiet. Don't say that I'm pregnant. And he's like, no, you must tell the truth. So for me, that is very important. Being honest is very important. Now, it is how your manager is going to accept it is also going to determine your future. Because if this is a manager that's going to say, oh no, you're pregnant, we can't hire you, or we're going to take it back, then trust me, it's the wisest decision you've made. Because
Right.
you don't want a manager that's not going to be able to understand the circumstance or situation. We're all human. I mean, what happens if your wife goes to work and she's pregnant? How would you feel if someone said that, right?
No, it depends who's the father, but never. Because the way you're saying, what if your wife goes to work and then she's pregnant? Okay, sorry, Bernie, I'm forgetting this is live. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Because this whole pregnancy thing is very exciting, right? No, James is saying, hi, Malar, wow, pregnant. No, I'm not pregnant. James, don't worry about it. If I'm pregnant, my husband won't be worried about it. Okay, but that's a different conversation. Hold on.
Okay.
Now, what I want to anchor on is this, right? So I can see, because I have seen many women struggle with, oh my goodness, if I get pregnant, then it's affecting my job. And I think that's so women, right? Because we are so worried. I mean, we know we have so much of power, but sometimes we overdo the power as if like we're controlling the whole world, kind of a thing, right? But I wanted you to just pause there for a while, because I am very sure there are a lot of young women who are watching, who are career minded, and who might be pregnant accidentally, like you, right? Now that you've gone through enough of life, and you know how much of stress that you were experiencing, you're bringing a life into this world. It should be a celebration, but yeah, all the things that you say is true, right? Because we're still struggling to see whether pregnancy has any value to an organization. And
Yes.
that's clear. And from an HR perspective, that's also really important, because if mindsets don't change, we can't give lip service and say women are important, bringing up kids is important, but then we are scrutinizing and we are discriminating women who are pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So if you go back to your old self with your current wisdom, how would you just relook at this whole thing, so that some young women can have a different perspective, or a new perspective?
Okay, look. If it's unexpected lah, pregnancy not planned kind but even if whatever it is, even if it's a planned thing, and if you're getting a job, you're gonna go in, and you first thing is honesty. Okay, that is very important. Be honest about it and tell your manager, look, you know what, I'm pregnant. I'm very happy to tell you that I'm pregnant. And the reaction of that manager is going to determine what you do next.
Right.
Yeah, it's then going to make you think whether or not this is the job you want or not. Because For me, if someone came and told me, I think my reaction would be, yay, you're pregnant. How exciting is that? Because look, we as women have been blessed to be given that opportunity to have carried our babies or to carry our babies and bring them up in the way that is, the best that we can. And that
Right.
is not something to be ashamed or worried about. I know it's much easier said than done. You may be thinking, oh, yeah, you say this, but I need the job, I need the money, I need the, that security. I agree with you, and I totally, but that uh, does not, you should not shortchange yourself for that.
Nice.
There's
Nice.
always a way to, work around it. I mean, I always feel there's also always a solution, in
Nice.
life.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice.
yes.
So being in HR now,
Mm.
you're in HR now, you're in power, man, Bernie. So being in the space that you are in, what would you now? So at just now you shared your experience as a woman, right?
Yeah,
Now, as an HR person, when you see women who are either hesitating to get pregnant because of a career, so those who don't want children, that's fine. But
yeah.
yours was accident, so Ramesh was naughty, so that's a different issue altogether, right? We won't hold you accountable for it, only Ramesh, okay? uh, whether it's accident or not, right? It takes two. Now, and women in who are contemplating, do how can we shift to say we can be a mother, which is like a natural instinct for people who enjoy motherhood, and career, like what would your advice be as an HR person? If someone comes to you and say, Bernie, I'm not sure I want both, but I know one has to take priority. As an experienced person, what advice would you give Bernie?
It's a very interesting question. So, putting myself in that situation, if I'm just going to put myself in that situation, if I was actually, it's very different. So,
Don't
look,
put yourself, if you going back now, you're an HR person, and when
yeah,
women, because you can't do that,
yeah,
right? It's not
yeah,
fair to
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Today people don't have to pursue a career for an income, right? But you want a career because you love what you do, right? And at the same time you also want to be a mother,
correct. You know,
right?
you know
Yeah.
what? You know what? I would have to tell that person. I don't think as a HR person, again, you know me, I'm very human. So for me, being just your career is important, but so where does that stand in your family as well, as a couple, as having a child in your family, to build your family? Where does that priority lie? Career is there. Where does this lie? Where does your priority in a family to build your family lie? So in every journey that we take, I would tell them, uh, there's nothing that is going. So if you're going to have a child, so what? So, is that going to stop you? Why? Why should that stop you? You just have to have the right support system. You make
Nice.
sure that you and your husband, which is very important, both of you need to be in the same wavelength, the same path that that both of you are taking. That it's going to be a couple's journey, not just you as a mother. It's not just your job; it's also your husband. It's
Nice.
working together as a team. You know what I
Nice.
mean? It's not
Nice.
impossible. Why not?
Since both of you got naughty together, just deal with it together, right? One person doesn't do that. That's what you're basically saying,
Exactly.
right? All right,
Yes.
very good. Bunny, I'm just gonna hang in because I just wanted to crack that because it came out twice with you, and I know this is something we don't talk about, and the pressure is a lot also for women now to say, oh, okay, our career is so important. Shall I give up on this, right? And so I think it was an important question for you to
Okay.
answer. I'm just going to say hello to a couple of people who have come on Facebook and you're not able for some reason. We're having difficulty technically to put out your comments. Saying hello to Elizabeth. Hi, Alice. Hi, Sharon. Sharon Shivani says hello. Regina says hello. Tinagaran Arunasalam says hello. And he gave both of us a compliment. He says, positive energy looking at this. He says both of us never grow old, so you remember that.
Oh, thank you.
Our wonderful author Perthpa Singh says, "Hello, Malar. Always good to tune into your show. Thank you, Perthpa." Rajesh Singham, another Singham lady, says lovely as always. So just saying hello to them, and also to some people who've actually come in. James Fung, thank you very much. He was very excited because we spoke about pregnancy. Yeah, and some a LinkedIn user is saying, it's good to get honest with whatever you're doing. Louis says, I was so blessed to work with Bernie, as much as a pain she was. She was my guardian angel. Keep going, Bernie. So okay, Louis thinks you are a pain, but you're a painful blessing. All right, and Mohana Tangaraju is also saying hello, and my husband has tuned in today.
Wow.
Oh, I wonder why. Okay, let's see whether he comes and makes himself known. I'm the man, Right. So as we do that, so Bernie, what we've done is that we've looked at, and you were just going into Astro where you started building your career. Now, so tell us, how did Astro and how you got into broadcasting, something you've never done before, and how did you hack it? Because a lot of people, when they want to transition into new type of jobs, they're thinking, am I good enough? Can I learn the skill? I'm too old for this, or this is not my background. So tell me first, what are some of the inner critic that was playing in your head that said that, Bernie, can you do it or not? And how you hacked it, Bernie? Come on, because we know you have a lot of hacks there.
So actually, when I went into broadcasting, okay, that was the first time that I'm doing something totally. I mean, okay, Unilever was also something new. But for me, I think, to be honest, I'm sure a lot of you are going to agree with me and a lot of you are going to disagree with me, but it's all about the attitude. It's all about you. It's you, whether you want to do this. So for me, was when I went into Astro, I mean, it was exciting. Astro, wow, everybody was talking about Astro. Where do you work? Astro, you know what I mean? And of course, it was a glamorous job. I got to meet a lot of superstars, and my kids enjoyed having premiere movies and going for shows, concerts free, because we used to get free tickets. They enjoyed it. But when I went into Astro, that was my first path into my career, where I actually, and also the time, because Ramesh, couldn't work, I had to sit and think about, so what am I going to do next? How am I going to make this work? How am I going to be able to work to support the family, at the same time be able to do something that I love, So I was in Astro for about 8 years doing the same thing. Was it 8 years? 6 years. And then I thought, okay, it's time for me to think about my career. What is it that I want to go into? What do I want to build myself into? And the only two things that came to mind was marketing or HR. Why? I love working with people. I love, I'm a blabbermouth, so I like talking. I like, So I said, okay, these are the two best areas that I could go. So I went and spoke to the managers, being, almost 6 years plus. I knew quite a few of them. And when I spoke to them, they told me, oh, Bernie, we'd love to hire you, but you don't have paper qualifications. At that time, paper qualifications was you have to have it. For any job, it was a criteria that you needed to have. And I was like, oh, wow, what do I do? And there was a group of us, a few girls in the organization, friends of us, and we were approached by this, we were told about this program. So it was a degree program under Help University, a twinning program with Charleston University. It's a Bachelor's of Business Studies. They said you can do it part-time. And so we sat and spoke about it, and we were like, okay, let's do it. There was about 5 of us. We signed up for it. And, Malar, I must tell you, when I went home to tell my husband, he was like, do what you want.
Aww.
I will be here. I will look after the kids, because the kids were very young at that time. My daughter was 7 and my son was 4. And then my youngest fellow was just about 1. And so he said, go, do what you need to do. I'll be here. I will take care of the kids. So another interesting aspect before I go with my career is my husband and I have are very unique because my husband loves to cook. He loves to clean. He does all the washing of mopping, sweeping, cleaning. And I know a lot of women are going to say, oh, you're so blessed. I am. You can ask my children. They feel very blessed and stressed.
Okay, the blessing I understand. What is the stress all about?
Saturday mornings, 8 a.m., everybody up, start cleaning now. Because for him, teaching the children to do that was very
Oh, I
good.
love Ramesh. I love Ramesh. I need my husband to talk to Ramesh, but never mind. But it's not about my husband. Yeah.
So
So the stress is because now they are also, yeah. But your daughter-in-laws are going to be very, very grateful to Ramesh, right? Because,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
So,
going to be fantastic. Yeah.
so he was a big support. He was a big support, and he told me, go do this, and I will, take care of the kids in the home. So because it was after work, the five of us would rush for our classes to help university, and then my friend would drop me off at the train station in Sri Kembangan. I'll take the train and I'll go home to Kajang, and I'll reach home at about 10:30, and Ramesh will pick me up. And so this went on for about 4 years. I graduated. Did I give you the
You
graduation?
sound surprised you graduated.
To be very honest, I wasn't a very, let's not go there. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I did what I needed to do, and I focused, and I thought to myself, I'm paying for this program. I can't afford it either. So no fooling around. No, cannot fail, cannot. So sometimes my son will say, it was tough. I said, tough shit. I said, sorry, excuse the language, but I said, hello, you have to do what you need to do. I mean, focus. And if you want to, for me, I couldn't afford to fail. So I
Nice.
made sure I pushed myself, got my degree in 2004. Yippee! Bernie can get a job now in what she wants to do. Went to the marketing and HR department, and I said, "Hey, here you go, my certificate. I graduated." Oh, Bernie, you don't have the experience.
So first you didn't have the qualification, now you don't have the experience. But no worries, Bunny. We know you have hacked it. Tell us straight very quickly because we don't have a lot of time. Tell us how did you hack it?
Okay, so what I did was this was an angel for me in Astro at that time. So this person came on board, and she was the head of organizational development. It was a new area, and she came on board. Her name is Rosalind Arokyaraj. I hope she's listening, because without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. To be very honest, she was the head at that point. She didn't have any head count on her. So I approached her and I said, you know what, can I just, shadow you? I just want to understand what is this about? What is OD? I just want to get a understanding. And she's like, of course, Bernie, come. Yes, of course. So I used to follow her, and then she even got a book. And me and another colleague of mine, she told us, buy this book, Human Dynamics. Yeah, I remember the name. And used to go through that. She used to sit down and explain to us, go
Wow.
have sessions. Yeah, amazing, amazing. But OD didn't take off very well. There was a major restructure in 2008 in HR. Rosalind was taken in as the head of talent management. And guess what? She asked
I
me
know.
if I would like to join her. And I'm like, yes, this is my chance. And she said, we have 36 scholars. I want you to manage them. The first batch of them are coming back to do their graduate training program. Come up with a program and you do it. And I'm like, okay, you've got it, man. So, of course, this is my chance now. And I'm not going to make any mistakes. No room for mistakes. So went in, joined the team. I also joined the talent acquisition team because I'm already late in the game. I'm already late going into HR. I want to know as much as I can. I want to learn as much as I can. So started my job there. It went very well. A little challenging because I had a director that, was not really looking, he didn't really think that those who didn't have HR background were HR practitioners.
Right. Right.
Felt that, they didn't deserve to be there. So
Right.
for him, whatever my achievements were, he would, turn around and tell me, there's no big deal. So it was very demoralizing. It really, it did affect me quite badly. But you know what? I had a good group of friends, and we used to sit and talk about it. And they used to, tell me, "Don't worry about it. You don't listen to him. You do what you need to do." So this support again, So for me, there was one point, and I'll share this. There was a point when I was doing excellently well. Everybody thought so, but he didn't think so, and he actually wanted to give me a bad performance rating. And I was like, okay, but and that time, if you are bad, you have to do a PIP, performance improvement plan. And if you don't do the performance improvement plan, you get a 6 months payout. Now remember, my job is my security. I'm the sole breadwinner. I've got 3 kids. I'm schooling children. What do? I don't know where am I going to go. I've been in Astro for almost 14, 15 years. What do I do? And he says, this is it. You have an option. You have to do either one. And I go home and I am so troubled about it. I don't know what to do about it. And this is me. When I go home, I'm always active. I'm doing something. I'm either with the kids or I'm watching TV or something. But that day I went home and I went to sleep. I went on the bed and I was lying down, and this is my husband coming into the room. So my husband is not a touchy-feely person. He is very. It's like a touch me not, like you touching me shrinks.
Yeah,
So
touch me not, but you had many accidents, huh? Okay, but never mind. We'll come to that.
anyway, so he's going to the toilet and he gets this prompting from God. He said to come and hold me, and that's not my husband. He doesn't come and hold me. He doesn't come and hug me all. So he came and he hugged me, and I burst out crying. I just cried and cried. And he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "This is what's happening. I'm going to lose my job." And he's like, "Why?" I said, "I can't do the PIP. I'm not a below expectations person. I'm not a non-performer. I know who I am. And if I'm going to do a PIP, I am going to become a non-performer." And he's like, "Listen, God has given you a job. You don't have to be afraid. No one can take it away from you." I said, "Okay, what do I do?" So I went in the next morning and I told him I would take the 6 months payout. Now they knew my situation. He knew it. And he said, "You're going to take the 6 months payout? You sure about that?" And I said, "Yes, I can't do this PIP because if I do this PIP, I'm not going to be, I'm going to be a non-performer." And he was like, "Okay." So he said, "Let me think about it." And he came back the next day and he said, "Okay, it's been reversed. So now I am not a non-performer." Yippee yay! So it was a blessing. But you know what, Malar? I must say something. I mean, in this journey that, when I went to HR, and it was a struggle in Astro, it wasn't easy. But again, I had very good friends and the business. I mean, 2 years I was doing this, and then I went to business partnering. And business partnering, I was working for, again, this radio station, AMP radio, and they had all these DJs and all of them who think that they were, they are important. They are important.
Yeah,
But
celebrities, lah. Basically, you're working with celebrities. So, I mean, let's
not
get it.
easy, not easy, but I worked with them, and I think it's my nature again, and we became such good friends. But
Ah,
when I left Astro, I thought to myself, I must thank the person who made my life difficult, because if he did not do what he did, I would not have even strived to make myself who I am today.
nice,
Because
nice.
yeah, for me it is. I think I tell this to my children, and they will always tell me, "Yeah, ma, you always say this." But I always tell them, if whatever journey that we go through in our organizations, it can be a struggle, it can be difficult. It is a level, of course. There is a level. There is going to be a breaking point. I'm not saying that you're going to have to stick in there if the person is going to be
Right.
a but everything is a journey, and we're learning as we go in this
Nice.
in this path. And he taught me that I could do things that I never thought I could do. He didn't have the confidence in me, but I tried to prove it to him, not to him, more to myself, that I can do it. And that's why, when people say you're amazing, I think it's that inferiority that I had at that time when he said you're not good, there's nothing great about you. that still sometimes lingers on. Sometimes, it just play in my mind. Maybe I'm not that great. People, I'm okay. But then when people tell me, no, you're amazing, and I'm like, wow, really? I'm like, really? Thank you. I'm like, okay, maybe I am. And
Bernie,
ah,
you are amazing.
thank you, my dear. Thank you. Thank
Love you. See, I want to go back to because we need to get into rapid fire. So I want to go back into that space where your superior wanted to put you on PIP,
you.
right? So I want to just dig a little bit because I've heard of these stories far too many times, and it annoys the hell out of me when I talk to people. I hate the way people use PIP wrongly. I just hate it, right?
Yes.
And I often get into, as a consultant, stuck as to stand on the right side, and most of the time when it's unfair, it's the employee side, right? And that means you take a lot of risks, right? But fine, but that's another thing. Now, so I love the way you put it positively, but let's be real about it, right? If you were not good enough and you were in PIP and he knew that you were the sole breadwinner, they know all of this, right?
Yeah.
And then when you decide to hand in and say, hey, look here, I'm not doing, sorry, the shit anymore. I'm not playing your game. It's my game because I know my worth. I mean, thank Ramesh for that. When you did that, why do you think he pulled it back and said, you're not under PIP?
Well,
try not to be humble, Bernie. Put away, pack your humility aside. Let's go and do some exercise. Now, tell me, what does that say about you, Bernie?
What does it say about me?
Yeah.
So I've had this said to me actually in my new organizations, even in T Systems or in Standard Chartered or now where I am in NCR. Everyone has told me, Bernie, you are who you are. You are. There's no gray. It's black or white. Yeah, you are a person, but you are also a person that always tries to see. So, for example, Mr. Marias, whenever there's a situation, he will come and tell me, this has happened and this has happened, or there's an employee that is doing this. And I was like, look, we need to understand a little bit more about why. Let's go a little bit more in depth. And he's like, don't come with this Mother Teresa,
This is Louis, right?
Yes, my dear Louis. So that's why.
Are you hearing this? Okay.
And I'm like, no, you don't understand. There's always two sides to a story. Yeah, we can't just listen to the manager. You also have to have that conversation with the employee.
Right.
It's not always managers that are right or employees that are right. Now, that's where human resources is very important, because we need to sit down. At the end of the day, it's the person's livelihood, it's the person's career. That's all at hand now. It's in our hand.
Nice.
And how are we going to use this? Are we going to use it because of our authority, or because of our pride or ego? Or do we do this because we think of that person as another human being?
Nice.
So for me,
it's about doing the right thing, right? For you, it's about doing the right thing. But now go back to that fellow, because you're trying to protect that fellow, right? Now go back to that fellow. I want to deal with that. Now tell me, you get put under PIP and you don't belong there. And I love that about you. I love the fact that it hurt you when people put you below where you didn't accept. I just loved it, right? Now, and you went back despite your fear, despite knowing that you're the breadwinner. I can only imagine how much of courage it takes to say, you know what, my self-worth is a lot more than the lie that you've given me. And I think that's strength and faith at the greatest level, right? Now, and then if you rethink about it now, right? How did you suddenly get out of the PIP?
Well, it was because it was very clear, because everybody that was my manager, my business that I was working with, everybody did not agree to it. And, everybody told him that it was a mistake, that she should not be in it. I think he knew it. But again, it was the pride and that ego that he had,
Nice,
that he
nice.
couldn't let it go, that it was like, I am saying this and this is my way and no one's going to go against it. But I must thank God, because I think there was an element of human in him, or something emotion that he had, that he made, I'm taking the positive side, that he felt, okay, you know what, maybe I am doing something wrong and I shouldn't be doing this. So I think that's what happened, La Malab.
You are very kind, Bernie, because I am thinking. So I think people will be seeing the negative side of me. I am thinking that I thought I could put you under PIP because you have no other way but to fit into that because you are at my mercy.
Yeah.
And then when you put in the letter, I realize how valuable you are, and I backtrack.
Oh, thank you.
And the reason I feel that strongly, and I could be wrong, I could be negative, but I don't quite care at this moment, right? Because I see this happening to so many
Yeah.
people, is that I think what you have put out, and having Ramesh support is so important, that we need to know what's our self-worth if we want to discard bullies at work. The problem is there are bullies at work, and we give in to them. We give in to them because our circumstances, so they have no reason to change. They have no reason to swallow their ego,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's where I want to push the point. I want to push my control freakness into the outcome. All right, so I want to just read you some of the things that's coming through before we go into rapid fire, because we only have 7 more minutes. Regina Morris says, I told you, right, the 1 hour will go very fast. Regina Morris says, I have never known an HR person like Bernie. She puts the human back into human resources. What a vibrant woman, determined and focused.
Thank you.
And just when I thought my husband was tuning in, actually it's my son who's tuning in.
Oh.
So that's my son, Lucius. Yes, he's in my fan club now because he doesn't understand why I like to dress up in a sari, And Jacqueline says hi. Vinny Raviraj says hi. Mohana Tangaraju says hi. This is on Facebook, but I've missed out some people here while we were chatting. Alia has been saying hello for a bit, but I just want to tell you who are the people who are here to welcome you, and they are all your friends. So Daniel is my good friend. So he has said hello, Kamini. I've told you. Sandeep Singh has told you don't play Sandeep, okay? Okay, after Sandeep, there's Manjeev Singh. I have never met him, so I'm sure he's in your fan club too. Yeah. So Rajalakshmi, Raji, we spoke to her. Louis say, please beat him up because he deserves it. Sita Tini has also signed in, and I'm sure she's your Sashi Vadivel has also signed in, and I think, he's also your gang. Of course, Kamini, I know she's your gang. Nirmala Bhaskaran, she's my gang. She said, happy colorful day. Now, there's one question from Alia. She says, so many lessons in thoughts here. So Alia also, Alia is an amazing person, great leader, black or white, sort of a person, straightforward, direct, straight shooter, opposite of you. I'm not saying you're not straight, but she is like, she'll give it to you as is, right? And she's asking you, what is that one advice that you will give? And I think that's her question. So if there's one advice that you would give, having gone through your life, right, where career is concerned, where, people keep putting in obstacles, because a lot of people will give in to helplessness and give up, right? No paper qualification, so I can't do it. I'm married, I got children, I can't do this, I can't study at my age. These are all the stories I have heard, right? But and then, as they put an obstacle right in front of you, you're saying, okay, I'm going to jump over. That's what you're doing, right? Because they say no experience, you go look for someone to shadow, right? If they say you don't know, you say no problem, I'll find out and I'll come and tell you, right? And then you get yourself ready, and then the job appears.
Yes.
Right? So it's like you just know what to do when you don't let these obstacles stop you. So what is that one advice you would give to people, both men and women, where they are facing obstacles like you in their career?
Nothing is impossible. I mean, I went from Astro to T Systems to Standard Chartered, and now I'm in a regional role. God forbid, I never dreamt I would be in a regional role. I never had any experience. Our lives are determined by angels that come and give us that opportunity. I've been blessed to have these angels in my life. This the jobs that I took, I didn't have experience. They gave me that opportunity, which is what I always tell all managers and all people who are hiring. Yes, qualifications are important, experience is important, but all this will be only good if you have the right attitude. If you have the right attitude, you can do anything. Anything you want to do, you can. I have done it. I have, I think I've taught my children how to do it, and I see that in them, and I'm really proud of the way they are, approaching things and the way they do things. It makes me happy. They always come and tell me, Amma, you did this. So, we think, what the hell, we can do it too. And I'm like, oh, so there was a part that I played, that it made a difference to them, and they have learned something from it. And I'm so glad. But if you have the right attitude, treat everybody the way you want to be treated.
Nice.
Be that person. If you don't like being shouted at, don't yell at someone. If you think there's a way of managing something, there's always a way of managing a situation. You don't have to be aggressive about it. You can do it in the calmest way, but also get the message across. So
Nice.
be yourself, go for it. Attitude is number one. And if for those of you who have faith, God is number two. I mean, I shouldn't be saying that. Ramesh would be too happy. But, that's my advice.
We're not interviewing Ramesh, so when Ramesh comes on, we will talk to him about his beliefs. But right now, for you, God is number two, and that's fine. All right. So, Bernie, we're going to go into what I call rapid fire, which means we don't get to hear your stories anymore. But I want to just bring out a couple of things that's right on top of your head right now, right? You said attitude, right? So, if I asked you, how do you differentiate between attitude and character?
Very good question, huh? So, for example, if I'm interviewing someone, yeah, and the person is, you have your question, your technical questions. I have to give this example because, so my son, my second boy, eldest son, but second in the family, he went for a few interviews, and he always calls me and tells me, Amma, this is what I did in the interview. I asked these questions, and I was like, wow, where did you get these questions from? And it's questions I never would have dreamt my son would have been able to ask. And he says, I went and Googled it. And I thought, these are good questions. I thought to myself, these are questions that I want to ask. And I was like, so that for me, that is an example of having the right attitude. So you're going for an interview. What is, of course, your job, you have your experience, but what is it you're going to bring forth for that person to be interested in wanting to hire you? Give me a reason to hire you. You have the knowledge, you have the experience, but tell me why. So how you, I think it's how your journey has been through and what you have been placed in. Examples, I would ask that, how you went through certain situations. Does that make sense?
So what you're saying is that you can tell me what you're good at. Sometimes people portray a great attitude at the interview, but if you gave me evidence of how you've lived this attitude, then I know you've got character strength.
Yes, use it.
I paraphrase very nicely. One thing that you feel you have missed as a mother as a result of being focused on your career, as to because you were doing the part-time studying, so a lot of time away from the kids. However you try and make up, you have missed. So is there anything that you I missed this part with my children while I was at work?
Actually, no, Malad, I was thinking about it.
Nice.
I think, because for me, Monday to Friday was crazy time. But Saturdays and Sundays, which is until today, I always feel it's my family time. Nice. And we have that opportunity, we'll go to church and we're going to have a meal together. And, it's always been there. So I don't think I really missed out on anything. I don't think so. I must ask my kids. Probably they will give me a mouthful.
And that also will tell you the way you have built their character, right?
Yeah.
because again, when you have a mother and father like you and Ramesh, they need to figure it out because you will hold them accountable, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So your finish the sentence. My career completes me. How does your career complete you as a person?
It's what I can give back. How do I give back as a human resource manager?
Nice. My
Um,
oh sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
My greatest accomplishment in life.
I think I am very proud of who I am and what I have achieved. More so that I have not, how do I say, I've not shortchanged in any area. My family, my kids, I'm very proud of who they are and who they are. Even their future partners are amazing. And I'm so proud of them and my husband, who's been my pillar and my support. I think I am where I am today because of him, his faith and his strength. Yes.
Okay, hip hip hooray to Ramesh. You've said that too many times. Very nice. I will be remembered as.
The person who made, uh, who, who listened, who cared, and made a difference.
And I think all the comments that's coming through from all the people you've worked with in the past already is a testimony for what you've just said. One gift to my bosses.
The ones that have, so whoever, yeah, the good and the not so good. Thank
The
you.
devils and the angels.
In HR, we don't say bad. So it's challenges, so not so good or good. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, thank you because you have made me who I am. It was in my career. You gave me the opportunities. You challenged me, and yeah, I'm very grateful for everything that I have today. I'm very blessed and thankful.
Nice. And if besides Ramesh, forget about Ramesh. Enough of Ramesh, okay? Enough. All right.
Okay.
What was the greatest support that you think that gave you the greatest strength in your journey?
So, to be honest, my family, after I told you this, I mean, if you ask a lot of people who know my family, we are very close support system. And we are sometimes called the Mafia Martins because we are so close and we are so united that, sometimes the brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws think it's too much, but it's a blessing. This is from my parents who brought us up, and I think we've all of us have learned from that, and we've done the same for our children and our families as well, which our spouses agree and like it also, even though they don't like the close too much of closeness, but they have been the greatest support. And I have a handful of friends who've always looked out for me, and who always people like, I'm going to name a few of them. If I don't name you, it's not that I don't. Please forgive me. I may have forgotten, or
No, no,
I'm
no.
very
You put in comment if you forget. Now you name them first.
Sija, Rosalind, Charanjit, Sharon, um, yeah, Louis, who has given me headache, but he's a good friend. Yeah, Carol, and you, Mother, as well. Thank you. I mean, I never would have dreamt of doing something like this. So these are the people in my life that have really made a difference. And my boss in ex-boss, Gabriela Serbanova, she is the one that I was working for when I joined NCR. She's an amazing person. We still keep in touch, by the way. Yeah. So these are the few people who've really made difference in my life. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Bernie, thank you very, very much for nuggets of wisdom. I'm sure we can talk for another 2 hours if you wanted, especially about Ramesh. There's so many stories coming through from Ramesh. But thank you very much for bearing your soul and telling us some of the very critical, challenging, vulnerable moments that to be, that you were willing to share with us publicly, right? Especially about your marriage. And, I'm grateful that you are in that space with Ramesh, for you to share this with us openly for us to learn and grow. Now, if there is one thing that you want to leave the audience with, what would that be before I let you go, Bernie?
To be marriage is, I think I want to touch on marriage. It's not an easy journey. It's not going to be just all a bed of roses. There's a lot of it's ups and downs, but what keeps me going and what makes me remember, or make things look, I want things to be good, is that I always think back of the first time I met my husband and how our courtship, and I always think to myself, why do we forget that? Why do we forget that after 35 years or 30, 40 years, we think, we just forget how it was at the very beginning. And that brings me back to all that fluttery feeling and that, oh, nice. And I'm still in love, and that's what marriage is all about. And I think it's that unity, that, understanding between a husband and wife, that any woman or any man will be able to pursue anything in their dreams and do what they want to do without, you have a support there. That is the most important. As in a marriage, you must have that, that's trust and that belief in each other. And I have that, and I cannot ask for anything more. And if I were to go back and start all over again, I wouldn't change anything in my life. So
Nice.
I'm very happy. Yes, thank you.
Nice. Hug Ramesh for me.
I will.
Because it was such a difficult.
He doesn't like hugging, but I will do it.
No, I will break that. Now, hug Ramesh for me. So you say it's not from Bernie, it's from Malar, because we know. I do know that we need to bring Ramesh on board at some point because he has a lot of things to say, which I think men need to. But we didn't want to bring both of you because both of you are like just too much for us to manage. So. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you for all.
God bless you.
Look forward to our blooming friendship.
Yes, thank you, Melanie.
Take care.
Thank you.
All the best. Take care, buddy. All right, so that was Bernie in her elements. And before I leave you and announce what we're doing next week, I want to thank you again. And I just want to read out some comments of people that I missed out from Facebook. Marlene Johnson, so cool. She says, Dina. Yes, Dina's from Astro. So she knows Bernie. She says, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Dina. I hope I haven't missed out anyone. Vinny Raviraj. Yeah, that's another wonderful person. And I want to thank people who have joined us much later in the comment section. That is Panir Paul Rajamani. So thank you. He said join late and he will catch up. So thank you very much. And Nimala, thank you very much for saying, how you've resonated and how you've actually built a stronger shell around you. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed the conversation, the fun conversation with Bernie. Follow Bernie on LinkedIn and on Facebook. And yeah, please follow us if you like our stories and tell us, who else has inspired you so that we can bring them on board. Next week, for those who have been following this Being Whole, Being Me, we will be bringing in a guy that a lot of people were very excited about. Yes, none other than Daryl Lutz. Daryl Lutz will be educating, creating awareness about the divided self. So if you've ever felt that you're divided, there's this devil and the angel in you and the good and the bad in you, and you're feeling conflicted, so Daryl is going to shed some light for us to appreciate ourselves, accept ourselves, I think. And so next week it will be with Daryl Lutz in creating awareness about personal growth. With that, this is Malar from Hearts and Minds Development Center signing off. Have a great weekend, stay safe, and I will see you next week at 12. Bye.